May 14, 2009, South Deerfield, Massachusetts, at the old Firehouse. We're here for an exciting evening of poetry and comedy. 14 poets will be reading, I think in 14 minutes, maybe a little longer. And here to get us started is our very own Nathaniel Otting. And the comedy will be performed by Jacob Otting. So in other words, Jay,
Jacob's gonna read first, that's new, and then we're gonna have 7 readers who are here. Oh, one who is not here. When Ben Copel comes, he'll read with the second group. Making an arrow for those in the second group, you'll know about that. And the first group, you know who you are. So you'll read after Jacob. Then maybe we'll take a pause. I don't know how people feel about Jacob's gonna be up here for 8 minutes. Then we'll have 6 readers in 8 minutes. 16 minutes. That doesn't seem like we need a pause. We'll go on from there to the next group. And then I think we'll just go straight through. How do people feel about that?
That sounds great.
I think it's gonna be fine. So,
Feel it out.
so I'm crossing off the pause. And then Amanda Nailbright's gonna read after our readers in the middle, who are now in one big group. So when Ben comes, he'll just go right up and read. And people will know that. Same for Chris Cheney, and possibly, yeah, wow. Okay. So, first is my brother.
Wow, really?
There are a few people still trickling in. Hello.
Hi.
I'm Jacob van Tooten One's Own. Most of you know and love me, or you wouldn't be here tonight. So I won't dwell on my remarkable resume, which I needn't mention is vast and swift-moving enough to cut wide, swathy boulevards through the concepts of time and space, and which as such requires my resume, its own think tank, neatly whipped and divided into crack teams by cream and crop, and field and expertise, physicists and philosophers, laboring daily under the ever-lengthening afternoon shadow and evening specter of my monolithic career, which careens and careers in and out of focus even as I stand before you tonight, and which, my resume, simultaneously out-snubs the Academy and out-sloths the anti-Academy. Anyway, in case you didn't make it to the dinner theater thing earlier, you should know that this is just the post-dress rehearsal. So I'd like you all to imagine me naked with a broken leg. 2 old stage tricks I just conflated on the fly, under no uncertain duress, despite my looking like I'm reading from a script. Also, this is pre-honeymoon, post-prandial. Also, this is post-fever of days, pre-never-ending bender. Also, I haven't performed this thing since middle school, so get ready for the rough and tumble. To wit, to rumble. The title of this comedy act is grammatically effed for a reason, and that is that if it were called the comedy act at which not to laugh, it would more than likely tickle the audience in such a way as to elicit giggles, which, eliciting giggles, is so clearly the opposite of my titular wish. Because we all know too well the sheer goddamn hilarity of cumbersome grammatically correct constructions. The grammarian's sense of humor sure is dry. Now the word titular is certainly funny as hell, but unintendedly so, because after all, language is immaculately conceived in this way, which, don't get me wrong, the Romance languages have been doing the dirty deed for centuries, but the sex is always conjugal, unless of course the other side declines, in which case we've got a word for that too. This comedy act is bulleted. It's fully loaded with bullet points. Each bullet point has on it the name of a person sitting in this room. This being the comedy act not to laugh at, don't you expect to hear any of those fuck words and shit words everybody's always talking about. If you came here hoping to hear those cunt words and dick words, I'm afraid you've come to the wrong place. Here's something else that's not funny. I want to eat a nice, pretty, nubile beauty, a fulsome, buxom lady named Jacob. Here are two running jokes. They run in the family. They're called jokes because they're not funny. We keep them in the refrigerator, which is itself running, but that joke's not on us. It's on whoever's at the other end of the phone. Because at time of installation, we gave our fridge a mile, but it hasn't moved an inch. It was a budget item even, but still it thumbs its nose at the inanimate made animate powers that be. Anyway, my parents are the oldest joke in the book, and they're not getting any younger as the old joke goes. They used to carry their inheritance between their legs, but these days they have free-floating belly baggage that accumulates and coagulates with age. And in these, they pray to keep all the family secrets. To call my parents kangaroos would be overstating the facts, but my father does occasionally box my mom's ears and re-gift them on Christmas. He has no mistress. You couldn't make this stuff up. Yesterday I caught my brother attempting to make juice out of one of the family jokes. So of course I threw him into the juicer, and the juicer into the blender, and the blender into the microwave oven, and the microwave oven into the conventional oven, and the conventional oven into the washer dryer, and the washer dryer down the garbage disposal, and then I flushed the whole mess down the toilet, which before you peg me for inconsistency is also as it happens in the kitchen, where we keep everything that is but the kitchen sink, which we keep of course in the bathroom, right next to the refrigerator, which houses our running jokes, two of which I will attempt to catch for you tonight. Here's one. Reign of old age. Old ladies use umbrellas to pantomime young poppins at the top of the stairs. Older gents use umbrellas to puppet young sittings on sidewalks under bigger umbrellas. Any old weather is one way to make the paper, but bad news is the only way to break the rain. All good noses make a stink over wet eyelashes, but only the oldest skin wrinkles in the thin and thick of things. Galoshes of happiness, splashes to splashes. From splashes you have come, and to splashes you shall return. Bathtub of old age. You come plumb and go prune, while the good God enables fur in funny places. People on their way out. There's a time and a place for time in space. So first things first, everybody better know ahead of time when and how they're gonna go. On your way out, do some truly great deed of the nearly dead. Nothing too radical, just something you'll be remembered for. Release your pillows into the wild and stuff the cases with soap and bones, teeth and human hair. Holocaust of lost promise and tooth fairy retribution. Reprisals by moonlight. No need for those old children to make believe. By God or by Gollum, knock down your neighbor's door and chew up his various and sundry mezuzahs, as you would celery made cradle by butter of peanut. Deep fry the raw ingredients of your secrets and bake them into a cake for the kids. Wear your wristwatch like a headdress, time ticking flush up against your temple. Litter in little ways all across town, force a camel to its knees, shake a child until something breaks, Palm 2 pumpkins and put out your back. Accordion crimp your linens and things. Tear the Tupperware in two, but leave the phone book alone. Bubble wrap the geraniums for posterity. Posterity is a safe ship. Ride side saddle, finally. Give yourself one of those hand jobs everybody's been talking about. Knit winter wardrobe for the living things you love most. Pick your battles. Saw various and sundry household objects down the middle and superglue the various and sundry halves back together. So to give the wife a good scare and a run for her money. This is divorce and these are dividends. Don't be afraid to pun on purpose in the few remaining moments. A silly pun makes short work of meaningful metaphor. Put yourself in a pretty pickle. Sandwich yourself between an enviable set of buttocks. And yes, do those things people have come to expect. Put your goodbyes in writing, savor the final supper, turn out the lights and close the blinds, brush your teeth, comb your hair, wash with soap. And by all means, bleed all over everything you see. Then, and only then, may you lock yourself in the closet and scruff the sugar at the nape where the grains have become salty with age.
This is a poem called Arkansas that I wrote with Natalie Lyle. A fever is in a teacup, spreading slowly through our country. We are rushing supplies to stymie damages while our cough disturbs the topsoil. We make it impossible to love us, but you slough off the land at the borders, and your Ozarks suffer our timbering love. A late season frost heave. We drag some machinery through the ground to spark the processes, and it sparks off a small president to burn the air until it's sterile. We are all responsible for terrible choices and noises. Peering in the mirror, wondering, Arkansas, why did I never visit? Why does my face look like this? For now, let me purchase a small plot of you while the landscape is at its most bleak. I wish I had been a kinder man for longer, or kindling for the sake of my lost siblings out there in your forests. They're perched on the tallest shoulders, eyes peeled, hearing things in the night. They are not shot through into a long dream. Maybe under some black rocks, dragging in a sluggish current. Maybe all the gifts we've given each other all these years are in all the rivers. And you know where the rivers end up, or maybe you don't. Ben?
It's made of words. The first thing I'm going to read is for Seth, and for a lot of things he's taught me about poems and being a person. And it's called A Map is a Place is a Thing. We all recognize the need to alter the paintings. We can and we will, even when they won't allow us to play. We have no name. Naming alone is understanding. We have no idea. No book of legends, no land, no map. We bracket sections, combining longer and shorter lines. We're left with what accounts for leaving. We live the way we live. The world changes us. And happy birthday to David Bartone. It's his birthday today. That's one of those. And like halfway through, I was like, "Oh, and it's David's birthday." This is a sonnet. 23 years old and never seen snow. A moral code made of ones and zeros. Born with a good side the size of a fist. Put the money in the bag and run, boyo. I reckon our reckoning is on its way. A good thing this place could be. Holy ×3. Dream girl, dystopia. Don't be gentle. Let me hang you from my rearview mirror. Burn your artificial limbs for fuel. All the sluts stuck up inside my radio want to know what my day did with me. I want to live off black licorice by the pound. Sample and hold and sample and hold and knock back my coffee so sweet and so cold. Got petted.
Hi. This is called Country on its Fifth Day. I was thinking and you asked me, do you want to know what this is? And you said it's a garage. I left you there and said it's cold inside the house even though it wasn't. It was only where I was going. The leftovers inside could have been a stockyard, a subway, or a damaged pipeline, but they were still thawing. Fireworks in the utensil drawer and a journal I used to keep about sledding in the future. It was called Duty Be to Your Future. My sister hated it, my cousins too. You came in walking by your teeth, saying, "Great Alaska," and again the butter melted onto my favorite scarf. Please take my scarf. A garage is where I want to meet you. Emily,
Statues by the river. The painters sleep among the bricks on the hill above the town. The painters paint animals on the statues by the river. The town is purple and the river passes under the soldiers. The soldiers build crosses on the bridges. The painters paint animals under the bridges. The painters pass their fingers across their faces when the soldiers cross the bridges and climb the hill. The soldiers carry the crosses up the hill at night. The river is gray, and the crosses are purple like the eyes of the painters. The town is on the river, and the bricks are white, and the mortar is white. The soldiers are gray in the night, and purple where the river passes by the statues. The town is on the river, and the painters cross the bridges where the soldiers build crosses in the light. The painters carry their paint on their backs and cross the bridges in the morning, and up the hill above the town when the soldiers come down to the river. The painters abandon their paintings when the town is purple, and the soldiers abandon the night when the animals are painted. The crosses are painted in the morning, and the hill is gray when the town is abandoned. The painters cross themselves in the light when the animals come down from the hill. The soldiers cross the bridges when the river passes in the night. The painters touch their faces with their fingers, and the soldiers cross the bridges where the statues are painted. The painters touch their fingers with their paintings, and their faces are purple where the river passes through their fingers. Thank you. Chris DeVeja.
This is called King Tut. You are a criminal. Sand is spilling from your pants as if you brought the Sahara back with you. On the tarmac, red lights power the vigil. Good night, sir, the air traffic controllers are saying to anyone with headphones. I can't stop listening even after I'm asleep at home. Awake, nothing is parallel to the lost world, though microfiche comes close. The distance must be different if you're the mountain and I'm darkness. Housing ruins outside their own logical conclusions, you break scorpions from amber just to change their poses. I pray for a numerical way of haunting. I get so pissed when you swipe your card, open up the sarcophagus. Heather Crystal.
Like, Nat asked me to read more. I'm not just like being crazy. Okay. I'm just going to reorganize these. I wrote all of these by myself. This post was removed because the forward button does not have magical properties. Is it safe now to say Canada's no longer funny? No, it is not safe to say anything because your mouth could detach and sail away to an openly new continent. I don't know, in the Pacific. Precautions are stupid. They eat into our limited budget. Nobody takes my sweater off, ever. I have feelings too. And at night, when my cat eats my hair, that is also a feeling. The way a nation is, persistent. The way you can wake up feeling Canadian even after you are dead. Aqualung. What I like likes me back. I like the sky and information. I walk around. Everything bounces off the world and sticks to me, and it is called a system. A symptom of I am about to be shot is the red light on my chest. Or else I am going to be mentioned in a short presentation on love and deep misgivings, like the time I was exploring the pink coral reef. My body slipped out and stood beside me. We could not see each other, and assembled our new visions into one. The world was different because it looked different, and it still likes us, but we don't like it back. Things I say to the waiter. This is not the body I asked for, and this is the wrong poem. The thing is, you can't send them back. So, today I'll accomplish a lot. I will compare my head to an 8x12 glossy photo of a man on a fabulous jet ski. What I see right away is the noise. We both have that in common. I'd like to jet ski straight out of this life, because right now I am way attached to real things. Like real things. Like, for instance, people. How they are all so tender. How they love to just go walk around. And some of them are wearing pink now, and it hurts me, and they bathe their dogs. The north window. I think every person walking down the street is my neighbor, but they are not. Or maybe they are my neighbors, but not the particular neighbor of whom I had first thought. The Australian soap opera Neighbours is almost worth mentioning, and I am being so honest, not at all pretending here comes Nat, who is the original neighbor, though now you wouldn't believe me even if I were telling the truth. Calling someone neighbor to her face. I am just putting it out there. To condemn it. You big, friendly man. I will have to place myself in the hands of a trusted physician. I will have to do everything he says. Wear loose cotton panties. That is an example, not a command. I liked that ambiguity. Okay, neighbor. Turns out I am a real jerk in this part of the poem. Ideally, I would give you each a small mandarin orange. Not to hold on to eat. Thank you. Chris Cheney.
I have a Mother's Day poem here. Our crazy mother meets our sane mother. It's a lawless time for us all. I wake up a crooked cop's mother, glowing in a windowless shanty. It said the first thing you see is a mother. I saw the lid of a large casket. The plywood roof became my mother. There was a corpse packed down inside her. I thought this was true for all mothers. When I brushed some dirt off her, I knew this could not be my mother. My mother was much lighter than this, but this was definitely somebody's mother. White Huzzle. My knuckles immediately turn white when holding a crowbar. The night turns an ominous white, often enough that it's unmentioned. Like white butter on a white saucer, Keith and David are white. I am one of their best friends. We throw rocks at a white door. Sunlight on my floor is white. For a while, I think it's a white dog. Immediately, I paint over the marks. I decide to paint the marks white. Thank you.
This is February 19th, somewhere between Fredericksburg and Kerrville. Up there to the right is a hood made of the elderly, made by somehow popping the head off, leaving only the beard. Many horsemen have rustled at knife point, many drawn quarters, hammocked in the nape, or nestled in the crotch, grown under the dead bent, will root if let, will sink only to sire, one hitter sent into the ring, unsure of the footwork, like a crippler, a fast warplane, a fast silver in the vast sky, a call to destruction, and I'm left with this slowly filtering, slowly pilfering, oh so slowly destroying river. Let's begin.
From this book, Alphabet by Inger Christensen. Apricot trees exist. Apricot trees exist. Bracken exists, and blackberries. Bromine exists, and hydrogen. Cicadas exist, chicory, chromium, citrus trees. Cicadas exist. Cicadas, cedars, cypresses, the cerebellum. Doves exist, dreamers and dolls. Killers exist, and doves. Haze, dioxin, and days. Days exist, days and death. And poems exist, poems, days, death. Early fall exists, aftertaste, afterthought. Seclusion and angels exist. Widows and elk exist. Every detail exists. Memory's light. Afterglow exists. Oaks, elms, junipers, sameness, loneliness exist. Eider ducks, spiders, and vinegar exist. And the future. Thanks.
The Crimean War and the Cigarette. Notice the beauties standing on the other side of the isthmus, the Come Here Isthmus, and we all came. There are newspaper paths rolled into private little tubes through which one can breathe, or not breathe, or theorize, which is neither. Sevastopol sounds pretty nice for a hot tub. But too bad about the ships. We are sorry we distress such good tinder. We hope the beauties don't notice, because in the middle of history, we pass kidney stones through tongues made into tacos.
Pictured below is a box. You see the box? It is poorly rendered, but I think we can all agree that it is a box, or that it represents the idea of a box. Then let us all assume we agree. The thing is a box, and it probably contains something. Boxes that contain nothing probably contain something. The argument is easy to make. Air is something, absence is something, nothing is something, something is something. It is all so confusing. You are inside the box. You are wearing odd clothes. Whatever feels odd to you, I wouldn't be so presumptuous to decide. And you are hopelessly in love with me. You are hopelessly in love with me, but I am behind the box. And perspective does not afford you a good view of me. Perspective is a real bitch. You want so badly to see me, you can hardly contain yourself. Class, I like this idea that revising is looking at the big picture. How about I make a metaphor out of this? Consider that you are in your house all the time, that you never leave your house. You stay inside all the time, and you rearrange the items in the house. You put that chair by that table, you move that potted plant, you put a bowl of fruit in its place, and so forth. Meanwhile, your house has come unattached from its foundation and is now floating down a river, headed toward the ocean. You are so busy moving things around inside the house, you have no idea that pretty soon the house itself will sink to the bottom of the ocean. Well, in this scenario, you spent a little too much time editing and completely overlooked some fundamentally important revisions. Put the end dust down. Stop fiddling with the TV table and look out the window. The house is completely out of context now. If the house is the essay and you are the writer, the neighborhood and then the river and ultimately the bottom of the ocean are the audience. It is not appropriate for a house to be floating down a river. The river does not enjoy essays about houses. It enjoys essays about boats. My pickle. I could use a little water. I turned around. My cornichon had made a big scene. The police put a cordon around it. My hat fits snugly, but I am not an important person. I own and operate a balloon company. I make good money, and when I need more money, I borrow it. Take my cornichon for collateral. In a hot air balloon, you can easily miss the police barrier. Barriers are important, but so are trees. Inside my hat, it says, "Hair is your ode." My hat is strange and keeps me warm. Money can buy happiness. It is important to remember that a good cornichon is imported from France, but police brutality is bad. A cop in each balloon is my motto. A cop in each balloon means no more nightsticks. The hat conceals the head, and every police officer wears one on his. Money talks, but I never met a cornichon that could spell. How important heat is, but how unimportant good pants are when high in a balloon on a bad date. I brought my cornichon to the zoo. I brought my favorite hat with me. I put all my paper money in my fanny pack, and the police applauded from below. The police are notorious applauders. Important people shout. Checks are money you can write on. A good balloon should float away, but a good hat should not. I need my cornichon to feel important. I need my balloon to breathe. The police cuffed my hat today and ate my briny cornichon. Amanda Nadelberg.
That was like choose your own adventure right there. Okay.
So was driving halfway across the country.
That's right. I drove halfway across the country in 2 days, but it was really fun. Can you tell I was proud of myself? I was proud of myself. Okay, thanks Ken and Jane and Schoen Books and Nat for putting on this terrific evening, and everybody who's read and everybody else who didn't read for coming. That was, yeah. Okay. I have time. Okay. This poem is called Our Flowers Are Called Water Flowers and They Need a Lot of Water. It's so hard to know that we are done with a lot of what we have been. For any of us, made from something, made anything. Made a little wooden boat and a little wooden horse and a little ocean worth swimming. The rivers are calling and the telephone brings mackerel, cooked well, home. A bird takes off its clothes and goes down to the water. Of all the perfect gestures, be good at naked. In the morning, be pine cones. Listen, grass stains, successful futures don't start here. Send more flowers, friendly gestures all the way to the ocean. Bring the fields their winnings, bring the rooms their people. Don't walk away. I thought the grass was moving. I mean, I saw it moving. What would he say to all of this mess of a river? I am so much more than pants. Legs on fire from all the night to night. I see trouble. It has a sweet voice. You can tell trouble by the sound of its voice. The world is full already, let's keep our voices down. This poem is called You Are a Thieving Joy. I can be happy for you and your bad taste. I can do right by you. It's fun out here in the dark. The disequilibrium in the conception of any one room. The chandelier and window treatments. An intriguing form of closeness, of love. If I prick your arm, do you even have feelings? Quick, dress me in the loveliest things. Feelings in the forest, in the car, and even your bed are to be kept. Keep the singing close. Learn what you can and keep it quiet. Keep the change, kids, spend it later. I will tough you up, I will leave you for dead. I will put words in your dead mouth. To sleep outside is just practice for the day the house burns down. Who left the candles so close to the paper towels? Who would do that? God. Walk on me a minute. Let me lose my breath a little. I will spend summers with you. An animal sits down at its desk and tries to do right by you. It just doesn't seem natural. The animal lies down in protest. All we have is pronouns and light and light. We are not permanent and you are a beautiful hour. This is called People with Muddy Feet Were Dancing on This Table. Not a question. Table. I am your friend. I go deeper into the forest. I put a belt on. I make out with bandits to see if you care. This is what it's like in heaven. The animals cutting our hair. When they dance, it looks like they just want to feel something. The happy, happy bird. We are human kites and we eat breakfast. Can you fire the wind? No, you cannot. You are just a person in California. In the forest, birds stop. They become broccoli. I can convince myself of anything. And the wind ruined your face. Everyone was disappointed and I was toothpaste. Dear me, this is what fireworks look like. A thing to complicate stars. You love like a slow train coming to a stop. A bird walks into a bar and lies down in the grass. If I touch the bird and it is afraid. If I touch the bird and it is afraid of everything. Nat Odding said no banter, but he said a poem could be banter. So this is a poem. This is like a Sappho poem. I mean, for me, Sappho poem. It's called 64A and B. I spilled something beautiful, and I'll have you know it floated. We brought the goat milk for comrades, for the spirits of children. I believe in lightning, that we can float when we try, and also that fish have electronic hearts. We are born, presented to gods as ugly as the inside of any belly. And that's where the muse comes in. That's when she rings the bell and I open the door. Okay. Good one. That was a good one. That was a joke. And then they laughed and you looked sad. Okay. This poem is called Here in the Space-Time Continuum. This mighty arrow and I are going straight to the moon tonight. Don't try to stop me. I guess I just want things that are certain. So when I say I have had an overmuch, don't let go of me. I say dumb shit all the time. I don't know if I would make a good fisherman, but I know what place is, and I know the many kinds. The kind like a kitchen table. The kind like a beach in a pretty country. The kind like the blanket of a self hovering above some road someplace because honesty is making up stories and sticking to them. Like driving a car or wearing a swimsuit, make it special, sweetheart. The hair like a piece of home, you can do whatever you want to me. Like driving a car or wearing a swimsuit. See how I manage all the fire when it comes in little circles? Pink particles kill one pink particle at a time. There are these moments we are missing entirely. I sat behind a really pretty boy in France. I wanted to kiss his neck. Nighttime is for sleeping. That's when you are supposed to sleep. And the devil's vegetables should be prepared like you're cooking in Denver. Remember that. The size of this aircraft is indicative of just how big dreams can be. I shine. I keep trying. I mean, why not? I am out of small slips of paper, and if Stevie Nicks can be broken-hearted, then so can I. I'm going to get red tights. No, no, no. I will sit right here. If I ever wear lipstick, I'd like it to be June Bride. Okay. This poem's called Poem from Claire's Knee, which is this movie, if some of you, oh hi Kim, maybe if you've seen it, it's really good. So Ben Estes, who's coming here next year, and you'll all have the pleasure, or hopefully most of you will have the pleasure of meeting him. He made me watch this movie. Hi Ben. It feels like the first time. I mean it. You only get to hold on to something until you don't hold on to it anymore. The second part of the holding is the not holding. To begin with everything I would like to say. The far end of the lake, the importance being the sound of a boat like that, the center of a lake and those mountains. Find flowers, find sound, find the Italy of the poem. The lake, the mountains, and a vision of fruit salad. France on a day in June. It's true. Love made me so angry. Here I am, a picnic. All spread out on a big lake lawn. I am a picnic. Sit down and paw your hands at my basket arrangements. What mountains? Flowers, flowers, flowers. A good story is not necessarily about two people. It's about fire or other movable things. Astounding electric hands. The decline of the American Empire, for instance. Perspective, juxtaposition, intrigue. Maybe she used to be a little more beautiful. A little couch in a country house is a second long in length. Swift movements. A repetition of a kiss-kiss to say, it's nothing, it's nothing. The weather, the weather. A lake and its mountains. A small boat because it's hard to get anywhere, like France. Something rough and hard that will break your face open. If it's raining, we'll just have to learn how to not get wet. Okay, and I think I'm gonna close with like a second poem from Claire's Knee, if you'll not mind. It's a little longer, but it's skinny. What did they call it in the car? It's tall and skinny. I don't remember.
Good metabolism.
Oh yeah, Jacob said, does the poem have good metabolism? And I was like, what? And then I didn't get the joke. Sorry for repeating a joke not well told.
We call that a stole joke in my family.
I was just sitting in the back seat. It was raining. It was raining all across the country yesterday and today, in case you didn't watch the weather. Okay, so this poem is called Another Interpretation, Claire's Knee, singular. And it looks like this, or it doesn't matter. Like I said, good metabolism, or they said, but it has little sections. They call them sections. Some people say fragments. Whew. Okay. Sounding boat of the lake, a little bridge and a woman standing. Toulouse. Things like a perimeter. A lake and mountains to form a perimeter. Also, 3 weeks in summer. Colors showing 1970. Water to the sky, I look at you. Sounding motor, red and blue and green. How a boat comes in and away, and how to look at a young girl. These old country houses, like a couch wallpaper, something must be done, the tree like mountains. In the nettles we find our nothings, nothing happening as a happening in the nettles. The mother in Nancy. Brown, red, blue, the water as wallpaper, the weather always as something to say. The weather says, you're lovely, the weather says, don't go. How a woman runs into the summer running. Do you smell the lake? The color of upset, the lake smells cold. A hand in a hand as a holding so little like the honesty of young people. I've never tired of you. Come back for me when I've become mean. For instance, today is wonderful again and flowers. Again the wallpaper as water. Red, yellow, pink, white, a man in a tie, a man in a suit, a handsome man in a suit and tie. The water as a way of carrying people. Smile, sweetness, to not agree. Mountains in a grand perspective. This weather and the mountains. How a certain dress and a certain shoe can make a girl. Monday, July 6th, green, yellow, blue, and then bounding down the mountain. Seen from below, love and a picnic. The man wore brown. Dead in the center, the lake is sound, really a comfort found in impossible forms of love. These reckless behaviors, your trusting shoes. Was that a subway? Were we in France? Chin on the crown of the head, what other maneuvers? Let's list the ways to do it in white glory. She's very nice. That hair, wild and full, young lady, young lady. When he tries to kiss you, do not pull away. Even Paris sometimes. Let me cover your face, I want to tell you something. White, blue, red, green, and a bench. So I behave, sending the little love letters away. I can't say much, but I love him. I can't say why, but it's instinctive. I promise. Come at me with flowers and I will run away. I manage a factory of self-preservation. It's like I've found you again in the factory. Be small and feel good, sounding boat red and blue like an anthem of curiosity, the pointlessness of green. To learn from our littles, buttoned as if the weather were not July. Not quite the meeting in white and clay. How do you contact an island anyway? You're better than tennis. I know how to stay here. To stay as an act just as much as to go. He will have to go on. We can't have the story ending here in its middle. To own a thing from your very desire. Yes, different kinds of wanting. It would have been easier to pin her down the apartment floor. I'm sure you've noticed all these thin, delicate girls. What will happen to them by the time they're 30? Wallpaper, green plants and flowers. Desire to follow possession, to herd without a hand. Sorceress, what can you do? I'm the camp director and the campers have complained. Ugly on the mountains, gestures can do anything. Blue, green, yellow. There were people swimming there. The mountains saw and angry. White, 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 green. There were people swimming. And if something more didn't happen, you are the fault of that. I'm really getting married. Trees and mountains like wallpaper. Mountains in a red chair, then Tuesday. Tender, of course, it doesn't matter. The clouds as wallpaper and the weather as narrative, I do not value your opinion. the patience of looking at one thing and no other. I saw the afternoon and it lied to me, the sky and the water as one muted shade. These feelings, awkward as business, green-red wallpaper as wallpaper, the precision of a thing like a gesture, I hate to make anyone cry. Oh, friendship on a couch as wallpaper, you magician as my friend. There are few occasions to look at the camera. We are seen, we are counted as necessary things. Goodbye lake and goodbye mountains, little red boat and hot-tempered story. Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. Thanks for mostly keeping a lid on the banter. And thanks to everyone who got up here and made this the best commencement I've ever been to. And to, yeah, the people who haven't been here before, because I knew I shouldn't try, I tried to squeeze this book in between readers, and that's never good. So if you haven't been here and you want to know about other readings, put your email in this book. And I must be forgetting things. There is a reading series that's really great where they thank people who aren't there, and I'm often, I think, forgetting to thank the people who are always here, especially Ken and Jane, who always do this, and I just can't believe that they always do it. That's all. I think there's a bonfire starting right now in this room. You're invited. Welcome.
Thanks, Matt.
The title has the title is the title.